you tired of living on autopilot? Are you ready to start embracing your one precious life? Welcome to the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Colleen Odegaard. Hey there, and welcome to the show. This is episode 26 of the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. I'm talking to you today about prol-inz, and how everyone has them. And I think it's important for us to remember this for a few reasons. Of course, I cannot continue the show until you know what the word prol-inz means. I realize that many of you may not know because you haven't listened to all the episodes of the show, or maybe you don't follow me on Instagram. Prol-inz is a word I made up with some friends many years ago, spelled Prollins. And it's just another word for problem or problems or something being problematic or not to your liking. It's just more fun to say, and you can use it in a myriad of ways. But prol-inz, everyone got prol-inz. So it's easy for us to glamorize other people's lives and think that they have no prol-inz. We do this all the time, don't we? My friend Cammie and I, she's one of my best friends. And if we find out, someone's going through something, like we find out a couple is splitting up, and she'll go, man, everybody got prol-inz. I'm like, I know everyone got prol-inz. Like, you just have no idea. And it's easy for us to glamorize other people's lives. We think that they have a career that seems so exciting or interesting. They appear to be so successful at it. And, she just must love her work so much. She just keeps on getting promoted. There's no struggle for her. It's so easy for her. She's so confident. Or maybe you think, gosh, money just isn't an issue. How are these people redoing their houses and sending their kids to private school and taking fabulous vacations? Or at least they were pre-COVID. Or you see a picture of that cute couple on social media. Or maybe you've had dinner with one of those cute couples and you think, oh, they seem so perfect and hashtag relationship goals. And you think that there's no way that couple has prol-inz. Or her kids are so well behaved and so smart, and they're in accelerated classes, and they're so outgoing, and they have so many friends. Her kids have no prol-inz. Her kids don't know what it feels like to be left out or not be invited. Oh, look at her. She's so happy and upbeat, so positive. She can't possibly have prol-inz. You get the idea, right? You can look at other people, romanticize, glamorize their lives. We think they glide through life with ease. These might be people who they're your neighbors or friends, or could be strangers on the internet, people you follow on social media who you don't even know. People have looked at me and assumed that I don't have prol-inz. This has happened to me. Not people who really know me, not my friends, or this is just people who know surface me outside looking in. I remember when my kids were in preschool and I would come into the parking lot, like just getting off of work. I was at the time anchoring the morning news, and I would do the noon news, and I would just get in right when my kids were getting out of preschool. I would just get off the air and I would drive to the preschool to pick them up. And I was always dressed up in my anchor costume, my TV anchor costume. And I remember once I started to get to know some of the other parents there, they said to me, gosh, you just always came in looking so polished and you seemed so together. And I thought it was so funny because once they got to know me and I was shared with them, like, oh my gosh, I was exhausted because I was getting up at 2:00 in the morning. I was cranky. That job was wearing on me because it was hard to do that and raise my kids. I just was stressed out that my kids would cry when I'd get home. Meanwhile, I had just eaten, a PB&J and Doritos in the car ride on the way to the preschool. In high school, I was an overachiever, and teachers liked me because I knew how to act and how to behave and how to be. And outside looking in, I think that I seemed like a perfectly, quote, normal teenage girl, whatever that means these days, whatever normal is. But at the time I was dealing with my Tourette syndrome and the shame I felt about having Tourette syndrome, and in an environment that was just very challenging, to say the least. And I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody. But it was, there was substance abuse and verbal abuse and mental illness and codependency and rage and screaming. And it was just difficult. It was a difficult environment in which to grow up. And there were so many Prollins that I had, I became adept at concealing them from the outside world. But then what happens when we do that, when we're always denying that, I turned against myself with self-loathing, binge eating, later in life, drinking too much wine. And even in more recent years, I think people looked at me while I was doing my TV job and just assumed, oh, she just loves her job. And to be very clear, so many elements of it that I did love, but I wanted something different. I wanted something more. And I had some challenges with it too. This isn't against any other person. This was just me sort of wanting something different, outgrowing it, I guess. But people would look at me and think that I just love my job, assume that, and think, oh, look at her and she and her husband. They're so cute. Oh, they couldn't possibly have any Prollins. And like, none of that is true, that there is struggle underneath all of that for everyone. So why do I even tell you about this? Why do I think it's important to remember that everybody got Prollins? I think, first off, it helps us to know that we are not alone. We are not alone in our hurts and our issues. The one thing that you think no one could possibly understand about you, that crazy thing you did or said or behaved, some way that you acted. Oh my gosh, if people knew, they would think I was Prollins. And in reality, I think that a lot of times other people say, oh my gosh, yeah, I can relate to that too. That there's a connection that we build there. We're not alone in our suffering. We're not. We're not alone in our Prollins. It may feel that way to you, but we're not. To remember that everyone is going through something. Everyone is. Even your favorite celebrity who you admire, you just look up to her or him, you think they've got it all going on. That person has something happening behind the scenes. Your neighbor who used to have the best parties pre-COVID, or maybe has great driveway socially distanced get-togethers or something, and she just seems like she's got it so together, or the person with the thriving business, they have Prollins too. So I'm going to say this, and this might step on some toes, but I say it because this was true for me. Perhaps you're romanticizing how good and Prollin-free someone else has it because it lets you off the hook. And I've mentioned this on a previous podcast, but let me explain how it applies here and why I think it's relevant. When I anchored the morning news in Charlotte, I worked with a reporter who became a friend to me. She was so cute. She was so sweet and fun. I liked her so much. I still like her. Her name is Janelle. I get a Christmas card from her every year, but she's so sweet. And we were having a conversation about being moms and having babies and the difficulty of pregnancy. And I remember saying to her, like, oh my gosh, I just can't lose the baby weight. Which, by the way, I'm not a fan of those conversations anymore, talking about weight. But I remember saying that to her. And she said to me, oh my gosh, I know. I just want to eat my daughter's leftover chicken nuggets every night off of her plate. But I just don't. I said, you want to eat your daughter's chicken nuggets? And she said, yeah, are you kidding me? They're delicious. I just don't do it because I know that I would gain weight. And I remember thinking like, I just thought she was a naturally skinny person. I have the Prollin of loving food more than she does or other people. And I just thought there's no possible way she likes nuggets. She eats carrots. And like, I thought that people who were fit were just sort of naturally that way. Like, oh, she's just like that. But I assure you, people who are fit work for that. People who have money work for their money, or they save their money. They're good at saving. They're good at, with a budget. People who have good relationships work at them. So that's what I mean, like romanticizing that for her. Oh, it must be easy for her. It let me off the hook. Like it never occurred to me, oh, she just makes healthier choices than me. So that's a silly example, but I think it illustrates kind of what I'm talking about. So again, remembering that everyone got Prollins helps us to know we're not alone in our struggle, that we have more in common, I think, in our difficulties than we often believe. So this happens with my coaching clients. I can tell that they want to tell me something. They start to say it and they back off because they feel embarrassed or that I'll judge them in some way. And I remind them, this is a safe place. And because I remember everyone got Prollins, I'm not here to judge at all. And when they tell me the thing, and I just think, oh, if they only knew, like I relate to this. And I know other people who relate to this too. You're not crazy. You're not weird. You're a human being. Secondly, the reason it's important to remember that everybody got Prollins is that it softens our hearts for other people. My Christian faith, I have told you before, I am a Christian. And even if you are agnostic, just listen to this. My faith tells me to love other people. And even if you are agnostic or you're not sure, you're checking the whole God thing out, you're not sure where you stand, certainly you can acknowledge that caring for other people is an important thing in our world. And my faith tells me to love other people. I'm not always the best at this. This is not always my jam. I used to only love people I liked, but that is very easy to do. We don't get credit for loving people we like. It is harder to love someone who you find Prollins, someone you find to be Prollins. And I used to spend so much time stuck in the muck of how someone wronged me or was rude to me or I was so offended. And then once I really understood and remembered everybody's going through something, everyone has a story as to why they act like a jerk sometimes, it helped me to soften my heart and give people the benefit of the doubt. We don't like to give people the benefit of the doubt because we think oftentimes it makes us a doormat, and it doesn't. You can have strong boundaries with people and not be a doormat. You can love them. You can do both at the same time. Softening our hearts is so important in marriage. Oh, it's so important. I have learned this the hard way. It can help you with your children to keep your heart soft, your friendships, your coworkers, and it can help you to take things less personally. When you remember that everyone has something going on, everyone got Prollins. My boss sure was, an a-hole, but you know what? His kid just got suspended from school. So, okay, I understand why he was hot-headed. It just helps us to grant more grace to people. And of course, I'm not talking about repeated Prollins behavior against you. Like that's a different story. That's something different altogether. But a few one-offs, it's being human. And if your heart is softer to people around you, creates a more compassionate, empathic environment for everyone. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to land the plane right after this. If you're looking to sell a home this holiday season, give yourself the gift of a real estate professional who's the real deal. Bobby Sisk from the Bobby Sisk Homes team at Nestlewood Realty. I can personally vouch for Bobby's work ethic. My husband and I worked with him when we sold our home. He took care of everything from beginning to end. He also has a staging warehouse where he keeps all kinds of furniture so he can help you stage your home when it goes on the market to make sure it looks its best. Go to BobbySisk.com, BobbySisk.com. Follow him on Instagram at Bobby Sisk Homes. This holiday season, you need to shop Black Lion. Black Lion is a home decor, home furnishing store in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they have incredible gifts. You can find a gift for everyone on your list at Black Lion. Again, the home decor items that are so beautiful. They also have jewelry and clothing and bags and tumblers and custom floral arrangements, gifts for college students, for kids. I don't know about you. It's hard for me to find gifts for my husband or for my dad. And they've got great presents for men too. They make it so easy. They put it all in one area. Boom, you can find it all right there. So go to Black Lion in Charlotte. Back in the show, very quickly, how about that original music from Elazar Schaefer? He's a musician, he plays the trumpet, he's a producer, he's a composer, and Elazar has been kind enough to let me use that piece of music here on the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. Elazar, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Okay, remembering that everybody got Prollins, I think here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. It helps us to keep our connection to each other, to be less judgmental, grant more grace, as I said, and be more real with each other. Don't you desire deeper, more meaningful relationships with people? I can't stand small talk. Now, Mama's good at it. I can work a room, like work my room at a party or something, but it exhausts me. I'm so much more interested in going there with people. You know what I mean? When they get into the good stuff, the stuff that makes our lives interesting and rich, hearing about the real stuff that's going on in people's lives. How are you really doing? How are your kids really doing? How's your work really going? How's your relationship really? And a lot of times when you are sharing with people like that, sharing your struggles, and when you hear yourself sharing your struggles with people, there can often be a shift in your heart and in your life. It can bring clarity to you about what's not great and whether you can do something about it. And lastly, I'll say this. When you remember that everyone is going through something, it can protect you. If you're so jacked up about something someone did, you're so offended, they didn't invite you to their thing or whatever, just to remember that she might be hurting. She didn't call me on my birthday. I wonder why. Instead of thinking like she's rude, maybe she had the worst day of her life. Right? Just remembering that everyone's got something going on. So I hope that this episode served you in some way. Before you take offense to something or someone, remember we all got Prollins. And if you want some help with yours, send me an email. What do you got to lose, right? Just shoot me an email. I'm a certified life coach. I help you stop living on autopilot and wake up to your life. My email address is colleen@wakeuptoyourlife.net. Thanks for listening to the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, take a moment to subscribe for free on your favorite podcast platform. And while you're there, would you do me a favor and give this show a rating and leave a review? Doing so helps other people to find this show. You can follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Colleen_Odegaard. That's at Colleen_ODEGAARD. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching programs, check out my website, wakeuptoyourlife.net. That's it for now. Talk to you soon.